Hello everyone to another of my irregular Warhammer Underworlds hobby talk videos, mumblings of a madman, brabbling, however you want to call it. Well, let's say it's point of views from an amateur player, because I am nowhere near a top level player anyway, so let's have some ideas here. And today I'm gonna talk about dice and decks, which sounds pretty cool, but is actually just an old man like me trying to make decisions. And for that end, I am gonna grab something. 1 second, opening the magical box, closet of junk. There we go. Some stuff I'll need and explain. And why is it? These are regular D6s. Now in my case they are the Warcry dice. And these mentally are a good friend of mine when playing Underworlds, because Underworlds has its own set of dice. Dice everywhere, in all colors and all variations. And they have two different ones. You have the attack dice, you know, the one with the sword and the hammer, to create the supports. And you have the defense dice, which has 3 times the same thing, the full support, half support and the crit. But then also has 1 dodge and 2 shields on them. Now in the game they are used to roll your attacks and, this can go closer, roll your defenses. And by the way, you also had magic dice before. They are no longer in the game, but now with the new wall scroll for the Tricefold Discord, you can just take them along and act them as tokens to remind you how many temptation dice you have, because you have 6 a turn, so just put 6 magic dice down, and every time you use one, toss it aside. Just a little tip, and something I'm planning to use on my Discord. But with those dice, you roll your attacks and you roll your defense, and you see. And now I know people, with one in my gaming group but also online, who like to calculate percentages on dice rolls. 50% chance of hitting, for example, if you have a hammer, because it's 2 times on the dice and you have the crit symbol, so that's 3 out of the 6 sides. With support or the new Deadly Synergies Unity deck, the half side also comes in. And then if you have 2 models opposing him, plus your attacker, so 3 models total for 1 figure. Quite a lot of effort, something that happens usually either with swarms or in the end game. You also get a full support. There's no way you can have all 6 on attack dice, because you can't hit on hammer and sword, which by the way you can do with some defense dice. If for example you're in a cover hex with the deadly synergies, so the cover hex gives you full support while you're staggered. On a guard token, meaning that you defend on shields, which are twice on there, 1 time on the dodge symbol, which is 1 time on there. You have the full half flank and full flank and the crits. You actually block on 1+. And why do I call it 1+? By the way, it's always a success then. You don't have that minimal chance of failing in that case. Now it's a pretty extreme situation, but it's gonna be more common with the new Deadly Synergies deck, because when you're united you can't as flanked. But why do I call it 1+? Because that's my trick on dice calculations. Mentally I turn it to a dice 6, because I've played war games for 30 years, and most of them, not all, but I've played a lot of Warhammer in my life and everything, all happens on D6s. So if I need to hit on hammers without any special effects, I've got the 2 hammer sides here and the crit on the attack dice, which means 4+. Do I need to hit on swords only? That's only 1 sword side, and the crit side, that's actually a 5+. There used to be special pin cards that only do damage when you roll a sword. It's only a 6+. And you might think when you're looking at these dice, oh, I only need to roll swords, but when you make the mental calculation to a more regular system, you're gonna think twice, because it says, ooh, small chance I need to roll a 6. And that's a bit of a thing that helps me a lot in well, choosing my opportunities of where to attack, because well, just have those regular dice, and it's a mental thing. If you're playing so many years of war games, that's something that just works better in your old wargaming mind. Now the second thing that I want to talk about is decks. I'm not going to do any deck building courses here, but sometimes with all the decks that are out there, whether it was first edition or now in second edition with all the pairings and now the plot card restriction removed, so you have a lot of pairings, what fits together? What decks might work together? And we're not talking two strike decks and just go all out aggro, though that works every time. But I have a friend for that, and it's a little trick. I have my binder with my decks. It's somewhere buried in the closet because I've just built my decks for the upcoming tournaments. So I'm not gonna pull it out. But that's these friends, old common magic cards. And why? The 5 colors of magic. Played a lot of competitive magic back in the day, Friday nights and everything. Few grand tournaments. GPs like it was called back then. I never went to the Pro Tour, so don't think that I'm a great magic player. But this helps me build my decks, because in my binder there is a common magic card together on the first row with where the plot card is, if there is any, or the summary card, which cards are in the deck. And that reminds me of the play style of the deck, because I remember the play style of Magic, and for that, of course, things like Blazing Assault, they have a red card because they are pure burn, if you like to call it that. Emberstone Sentinels, the whole deck, white, because it's all about defense, just like in Magic. The Weenie deck, like Edge of the Knife, I color coded that with a black card, because traditionally in Magic the black decks were lots of little zombies and everything, and Edge of the Knife is, for example, a very good deck. Okay, I know there are people gonna say elite aggro like Stormcast, but the intention of the deck mostly has been Weenie bands like Zarbag's Gits, Storms of the Briar Queen, that kind of stuff. So to that end, they tend to go to the Edge of the Knife and play that. Then you have decks like the new Diddly Synergies, which are all about uniting your models, and by uniting they basically become a bigger model, because you can exchange weapons with the cards and deploys in there. You can well, just your defense gets better because you're united. And to that end, decks like that I color code green, because in Magic the Gathering green was all about tougher, bigger beasts. So while you're not really getting any bigger per se, you are getting tougher with the extra flank on the defense and everything. So that's also a bit of a thing. And the final one is blue, and that's for all the special shenanigan decks. Realms and Raiders, for example. People might say it's an aggro deck, but it basically goes about deck manipulation, and if there was one thing in Magic the Gathering, that helped. So that's the color coding. Now, what do I tend to do? I tend to look for combinations like I do in Magic. For example, double white, double red, that's the basics, 2 strike decks and everything. But take for example Emberstone Sentinels and Realms and Raiders or something. Let's say I want to put them together, then I go like blue white. That worked in Magic very annoyingly for the opponent. And I play that because you got on the one hand the Realms and Raiders that are cycling through your ploy cards and upgrade cards and playing them, and on the other hand you have the passive scoring of the Emberstone Sentinels. Well, passive, all being relevant of course, by holding areas and feature tokens. So that's a combination that works. Same goes, for example, let's say I don't know, red-green. Yeah, let's go red-green was a pretty potent combination in a lot of Magic blocks, because on the one hand you got your aggro, for example Blazing Assault, and on the other hand you have your Weenie decks, whatever you want to take, like Deadly Synergies. So you are making your models better, harder to kill, but also giving bonuses in attacks with the United and then the flanked bonus. And then with the red cards like Blazing Assault, you put in extra damage. So yeah, that's 2 small tricks that I'm sharing with you. On yeah, don't mind the drill, they're still working on the sewage downstairs. sewage system. But yeah, 2 little tricks that help me personally both calculate my dice successes and combine my decks. Hope it was worth anything to you, and let me know in the comments if you like this, if you want to hear more of this ramblings of a madman, or if it's actually helpful to you and you think that, you might be onto something, maybe I should try that. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.